name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Today we have the 2023 State of the Collection. These are my favorite types of videos to watch from other watch reviewer channels because I really like to see what actually sticks in their collection after they handled so many watches. I also like to make them just kind of for myself to document the changes in my personal collection from year to year. Now, I've successfully kept my collection to my goal of 12 watches or less. This is a great number because it's large enough to allow variety without being so large that watches sit in the box for long stretches of time without being worn. So here are my 2023 revelations on the collection. Seiko stayed strong, but dropped from 75% of the collection down to 50%. Second, while I picked up a Grand Seiko, I think I have just as much fun, if not more fun, on the affordable end. So I don't think I'll go for another luxury watch unless I sell the Grand Seiko for it. And then third, while I have some long-term keepers, I'm definitely a watch flipper. I don't really miss them after I sell them. I like to get new things in and check them out. So I'm just not really going to resist that anymore. I'm not really going to get mad at myself if I don't keep a watch for very long. So here is the collection. Now, I'm not really going to go into the details. There's obviously reviews of all these watches on the channel if you want more information on them. So without further ado, here is the 2023 State of the Collection. Now, also, these are in order of acquisition. So we're going to go from the watch I've had the longest to the watch that is the most new to me. So we're going to start here. Invicta iForce 23777. This is the reason we're all here. This was a gift from my wife. Now, I was vaguely aware of mechanical watches, but actually owning one, especially with an exhibition case back, really got me fascinated with mechanical watches. I've grown to love quartz watches as well, but I think if this watch was quartz, I don't think this channel would exist because I just wouldn't have went down the rabbit hole of watches. Next, we have the Seiko 7A386010. This was a gift from my father-in-law, is one of the world's first quartz chronographs. This was his watch. He passed it on to me. I had it cleaned up by a watchmaker and it functions perfectly. These were designed to be serviced and should last a long time, and I don't wear it that often. It does have a special place in the collection. Next up, we have the Seiko Sarb 033. Now, I actually sold this watch and then repurchased it. It was very foolish. It's one of the only watches I've ever missed, and so I rebought it. So here it is again, back in the collection, and I won't make the mistake of selling it again. Next, we have the Seiko Sarx 055. Now, I've had this watch for 5 years, and it still blows me away every time I look at it. The level of quality on the dial hands, indices, and case is extremely high, especially considering this watch is titanium. The super clear coating renders that crystal almost invisible from certain angles and really helps all the details pop. This was my wedding watch, and then obviously because of that holds a very special place in the collection as well. Alright, next we have the Casio Edifice EFV100D. If you've seen my Casio Edifice showdowns, you know this is the champion. This watch is honestly stunning and has survived a very long time in my collection where many other watches have not. When people ask for a watch recommendation, I honestly give this one often because this is really, I think, all you would ever really need in a watch. Next we have the King Seiko 45 7001. Now, I'm not really into vintage watches, but super high beat movements fascinate me. This is from the era where Seiko really bridged the gap with the Swiss as far as accuracy of mechanical movements, and then I find that 36,000 vibration per hour sweep very mesmerizing. I was also gifted an exhibition caseback for this watch from a friend, which allows you to appreciate this absolutely beautiful movement. Next, we have the Christopher Ward C60 Sapphire. Translucent dials have continued to gain in popularity, and I think they're really cool. It provides a peek at the movement through the dial without requiring a hole like on an open heart watch. With Christopher Ward changing their branding and slimming out their case, I'm interested to see if we will see an updated version of this watch in the near future. The only complaint I really have on this one is that it's a bit thick, so if they made a slimmer version, I might be excited to upgrade to that one. Next, we have the Grand Seiko SBGN003. Now, this is my first foray into a luxury watch, and while it's incredibly nice, it didn't really satiate my desire for watches. So rather than to continue to buy more expensive and expensive watches, what I think I'll do is I'll have one slot in my collection for a luxury watch, and if I ever want to consider something in this price point again, I'm going to have to sell this one first. Next is the Seiko Astron SBXY055. Now, I've been curious about Astron for a long time, and this one really intrigued me, so I thought I'd go for it. It uses the same super clear coating as the Seiko Sarx, which is something I wish Seiko would use on more of their watches. This one's also titanium, so it's nice and light, and then radio syncs, as well as displays 2 time zones simultaneously. Next, we have the Sirica 5303. Now, I absolutely love the look of these Serica divers, and there was quite a bit of controversy with the movement on these. I do have some of the quirks where this one hacks properly, but sometimes when you push the crown back in when you're setting the time, the mini hand will jump a little bit. It seems to be linked with how hard you push the crown in. I can usually avoid it. It's pretty unfortunate they had the issue with these. The new Sericas have a different movement, so I don't think they have the same problems. That said, it's a really beautiful watch overall, and if you really like it, I'd probably just go for one of the ones with the newer movement. Next, we have the Citizen NY0120. These dive watches from Citizen are excellent, and I'm curious why they didn't get more attention. They gave us everything that was lacking in the new Seiko 5 SKX inspired watches. That said, this one was just to review curiosity and probably won't stick around very long. And last but not least, we have the Citizen NB1050. This is another excellent watch from Citizen and a great alternative to the SARB. While I think it's actually a better watch than the SARB, it doesn't quite have the charm. So I'll probably end up keeping the SARB, and this one won't last very long either. So there you have it, the 2023 State of the Collection. Now links to the reviews for all these watches will be in the description below. Thanks for hanging out with me for another year. If you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.